Hello there, and welcome to almost the end of what year is this? 2025, end of December. I wanted to do a pick a card reading for January. I'm going to do it a little bit differently because I find it really annoying to do top-down video. Like, none of the things that I have are good for recording that at the distance that I need. It's just super annoying. So, I'm going to do it through screen share. But these are the three cards that we will be pulling from. So I'll be, sharing them visually as well. Um, this is the card that you'll see on the left. This is the card that you'll see in the middle. This is the card that you'll see on the right. This is for January, month ahead, pick a card. These are all coming from the Verdance Tarot by Stephanie Poyman Law. She also did the Shadowscapes, if you're familiar with that, sort of classic aesthetic that she has had for literally decades. I remember following her on Elfwood, which was like a fantasy art gallery website, like back in the dial-up days. And I instantly recognized her with Shadowscapes. As soon as I saw it, I was like, "Oh my god, this woman! I love her." So those are the cards. Let me share them as they are laid out, in case that matters to you to see them in this way. But yeah, so this is for the month ahead for January 2026. You can choose left, middle, or right. Take a moment, take a nice deep breath, ground into the experience, the presence, the choosing, all of that good stuff. Okay. If you chose card number one, you will see the world. So I can show you what that looks like as we are interpreting it together. Well, it's probably worse than just sharing it on screen. But the world, right, as your month ahead. God, so many details. I'm going to just share it on screen because I want you to be able to see it clearly. Um, so we have, right, all of these rich little details. The world is everything. It is the completion of things. It's a leveling up. It's a final phase before starting it all over again. Now, as those of you on the Patreon know, and probably anyone who's not living under a rock in tarot world knows, 2026 is a wheel year, a wheel of fortune year. 2026 adds up to 10, which in tarot land gives us the wheel. Um, and so this cycle of endings and beginnings, that's going to kick right off for you if you chose the left card, right? That real completion, that ending, that ability to say, yes, I have completed. I am willing to celebrate those achievements. That's really important, um, right? We're thinking new in 2026, January. A lot of us, sorry about that if that made a noise, just hit the microphone. Starting new, right? But that doesn't mean that you're starting from a blank slate. All of the stuff that you've done in the past, all the stuff that you have behind you, part of the story, part of the experience, part of the lessons learned, the wisdom gained, etc. Here we also have four orbs that are different colors that signal the different elements. And I think that that elemental completeness, that sun, that moon, that are shown above. Sorry, I'm just laughing for reasons that will become clear later. Um, right, we have sort of the full picture. So January feels busy. It feels rich in experience. It feels like a completion and a celebration and getting ready, gathering all those resources in celebration in order to do something else moving forward. Okay. So that is if you picked the left card. If you picked the center card, we are working with the sun. Right, and this is just so you can see, yes, I do in fact have it terrible. We're going to share again. You can actually see what this looks like up close, this beautiful little hummingbird, right? This sort of creepy cat fairies. This door into something, this like oaken creature. The sun is bright, jubilant, joyful. One of the things that I was thinking about with hummingbird, because we have a lot here in the desert where I live, um, right? They are quick moving. They are a little bit aggressive. Um, right? The sun can be a lot of energy. It's great. It's bright. It's joyful. It's wonderful. Sometimes it's just like too much. So if we're thinking about, coming out of that world energy of there's a lot going on, for some of you, that lotness going on is going to feel less like celebration and gathering all of your things together, but of figuring out, okay, how do I make sure that I enjoy this stuff and it doesn't become too much? Right. So, really being careful, picking and choosing for yourself what brings you joy, what makes sense, how you can create space, get out into nature. Um, that's something that I always like to see with the sun card, even though some people sort of ignore the literal sun of it. Right, the days for those of us in the northern hemisphere are getting longer. For those in the southern, still got plenty of light. Um, right in your summer phase, but right, that hummingbird moves really quickly, loves the sweet things in life, a little bit of childish energy, perhaps, but it's a little bit like a kid on a sugar high, just sort of running around manically. So make sure to enjoy the energy, use it wisely, save it for the things that matter. Don't let it burn you out. That's sort of, don't go too hot, too heavy, too fast. Give yourself those periods of darkness and quiet and rest, so that it doesn't come back to bite you. My eye is drawn to those thorns at the bottom of the image, right? I mean, that is part of the natural process. So, um, yeah, definitely enjoy all the bright, all the good, all the happy, all the wondrous inner child brilliance, all the sugar sweetness of the day. But do know that it can be too much. And so intentionally build in opportunities for pause and recalibration and rest. And time outside may be exactly what helps you to do that. So that is the card in the middle. And then we have card on the right. This is why I was laughing. We have the moon. I'm just going to hold it up here. You can see, right? It's the same card. Um, I don't know why that matters. I could have fudged this whole thing. But anyway, the moon, that other energy that we saw in the world card, um, I'm really noticing these ink splotches at the top of the moon card, which are also on the back of the card. I don't know if that's in all of the cards. It's kind of in the sun. Um, Not so much in the world. Oh, it's a little bit in the bottom of the world. Anyway, not important, other than what it might have to tell us. So the moon is often confusing, full of deception, illusion, fantasy, right? So fantasy can be good, it can be bad, depending on how we are using it. In this case, the moon seems to be dissolving into butterflies, right? It's very dreamlike, oniric. And we have this sort of tentacular creature, perhaps an octopus, below. And I really do like this reminder of, the nightmare and the dream together with the moon, right? The subconscious is a very strange place. It is home to dreams and fantasies, not all of which are happy, right? And so one of the metaphors that I provide to people when they're trying to understand the moon card is allowing yourself to float in the ocean, knowing that you don't know what is underneath, right? It's not like some clear ocean. I often think about it, the ocean at night, right? Totally peaceful, totally terrifying if you let yourself start thinking about like what is under the water waiting for me. um, So both of those realities exist at the same time. Allow yourself to see the both and of it, as opposed to trying to distinguish, is this thing good? Is this thing bad? Is this thing going to make me happy? Am I scared of this thing? Like, there's probably a little bit of both happening for you in January, where you're not going to be sure. And so um, the way that you make decisions cannot be outcome based, right? One of the things that I don't remember who wrote this, but it was in one of the many self-help books that I read over the last couple of years. Right, the way that we judge decisions typically is based on their outcomes, right? But with the exception of highly accurate forecasting from fortune tellers, right? We don't have all of the details when we make that decision. We don't know what the outcome is going to be. So if it is the wrong outcome, what we didn't expect to happen, or we thought was highly improbable, right? It's judged as a bad decision, even if all of the inputs, the ways that we were thinking about it, were totally correct. So I want you to really think about how you are making decisions, not based on, is this going to get me the outcome that I want? Because you can't control that, right? Instead, thinking in terms of, is this based on things that I can control, such as my personal values, the things that I want to bring into my life, that I want to support, that I want to believe are possible for me, right? And that doesn't mean be totally delusional, but instead to recognize that there are a lot of unknowns. You cannot control for everything. You can only do the best that you can, right? And as we see in this sort of top of this card, up here, there's this little like boat made out of leaves, right? You are at the mercy of the whims of fate, the oceans and currents of the entire universe. It is not all on your shoulders, and so you do the best that you can with the information that you have, and that is really rooted in you, your sense of self, what is right for you, what makes sense to you, what you believe is possible, not just what is likely. That said, of course, you can and should use divination for forecasting. But as a friend of mine has recently warned a lot of her followers, with this coming year, predictions are likely to be a little bit squiffy. I think it's because Neptune is going into Aries. Neptune and Saturn are both going into Aries, and that is typically bad for prophecy and divination. We'll see how that plays out, right? But just and that doesn't happen right away. That happens later in the year. But recognizing, like, you know what, we sort of are just going to be going with the ebb and flow of things. That's the essence of the moon. So if you pick that card, be ready to go with that flow and really root into the stuff that you can see and know as best as anyone can. And then, of course, if you chose all three, right, we're working with some serious cosmic energy. We have the world, we have the sun, we have the moon, right? Be paying attention to the planets, be paying attention to astrological transits. If you are part of my Patreon community, you will know that I am doing a lot of that this year. Um, and this is really just a nice fullness, right? It's really the world doubling down, saying, we've got all the things together. We've got the sun and the moon, um, the fire and the water, all of those elements working together, earth and the air through which they all travel, right? So I hope that this was a fun little month ahead. Pick a card. I'm using a microphone, so I apologize if when I go over here, you totally cannot hear me. I will try to be better about that, or I'll just use a different setup. Uh, but I typically forget that. So, you know, you're gonna get you're gonna get what it is. If you can't understand something that I said, just ask, and I will be happy to re-listen or try to re-explain as best as I can. All right, enjoy your new year, and I wish you the best in 2026. I'll talk to you later.